Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Tea and Chat.
Good morning. So, Sharis, what tea do we have today?
Today we're drinking a French blend from the English Tea Company. It is a black and green tea with hints of jasmine, lavender, rose, and cornflowers. So some really lovely floral notes. This is one of my favorites. Highly recommend this tea.
This one actually was a gift to you from my sister.
Oh, yeah. I had forgotten that.
Shout out to Laura. Thank you for the
Yes.
tea.
Thank you.
This is one we like. Especially as summer is about to... I should let you put your own this.
It's fine. We do like different amounts of cream in our tea.
Yes, significantly different amounts.
Yes. If my tea needs to look like the inside color of my cup, and then I know I have enough. So
I was just in mom mode. Here, let me fix
let
this
me
for
just
you.
do this for you.
Yeah, this is really lovely, and with the seasons just changing, we're at the very end of spring here, almost into summer, and so those floral notes are just
They're so lovely.
It's just like a hint of all the flowers that are about to come into blossom.
Yeah, so nice after a long winter. Everything's been so dark for so long.
Yeah,
but it's just so fresh. Just love this stuff.
Very lovely. So, if anybody gets a chance to join us and try this tea, by all means do. Okay, so what are we talking about today, Sharis?
Excuse me. A little bit of a scratchy throat this morning. I apologize. Today, we were going to answer a question that, let's see, this question comes from Chirl 318. She says, I have a question, wondering, now that your kids are getting older, are they realizing your family is different? And how do you all handle that?
That's a good question.
It is a really good question. Thank you.
Well, I would say that
our kids don't know anything. Kept them in the dark. They know nothing.
It's funny because, yes, our kids grew up in our family. They know what is familiar to them, but they also grew up. We are pretty social people. And so not only did they grow up in our family, they've grown up amongst all the families that we associate with. So between our extended family, which is numerous, and our friends and associations and just different people that we meet and associate with, they've been exposed to all family types. And so, yes, they know that ours looks a certain way that most people don't have. It's not like they're confused, like, what? Not everyone has two moms? They know that there are different family styles.
Yeah.
Much of our extended family live monogamously, so that's familiar to them.
Yeah.
We also have friends and acquaintances who have same-sex marriages, so they've seen that. What else? They've seen different religious practices too.
Yeah. Yeah, they have some friends that are also polygamists, and so they know that it's not just their family that does this.
What?
They're not Mormon polygamists.
Okay.
They're not Mormon polygamists. But they are polygamists, and so our children have really been exposed to a very diverse social
just exposure to people in general.
Yes.
And I like it that way because I want them to understand the world is made up of different people with different beliefs. And just because our family looks this way, obviously that's not going to be the case with everybody.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that's an interesting question because it ties into what are our expectations? What are our expectations for our children?
Yeah.
People have asked us that too.
Yeah,
like,
lots of questions over the years.
Do you expect your kids to be polygamous too? And I think the short answer to that is no, we don't have an expectation of that from them. There's so many things that go into, and anybody who raises children can kind of understand that. When you raise your kids, you teach them when they're young different principles, and eventually they become an adult and they have to make their own decisions. One of the things that's of most value to us is personal choice, agency.
Yes. Now I would say that is probably one of the most important principles, not only to our religion, but just to us personally. People have to be given the right to choose what they want, to experience the consequences or the rewards of their own choices. That is so important. And our children are no different. You know, they have a right to make their own choices in life and to make their own mistakes, to make their own lives. So that's very, very important to us.
Well, another thing that ties into that is this idea that we're not raising carbon copies of ourselves. We are trying to raise independent thinkers. And so with that comes the necessity as a parent to step back and let them think for themselves, let them make choices for themselves.
Yeah.
And we know that ultimately that means they're not always going to choose what we choose. That being said, I hope that we set an example. My goal, I guess, is to live my life in such a way that I can set an example of goodness. And if I can set an example of goodness through what they see and what they experience at home, that they'll want to choose that as they get older. That it's appealing to them. And if it looks awful, and if their experience in our home was awful, boy, I wouldn't want them to choose that.
Yeah. We believe and we experience a number of blessings and benefits in this lifestyle. And I want my children to have those same blessings and benefits, but only if they choose it.
Right.
And so like Vanessa was saying, I would love it if they would choose this lifestyle because I know how beautiful and wonderful it can be. But if they don't, then they don't. And
right. Ultimately,
just keep going, you know?
Yeah, everyone's life path, nobody's is going to be identical. And who am I to presume to know where God is guiding them and what experiences are in store for them, how they're going to learn, what they're going to learn. And so, yeah, I mean, our job as parents is to set an example, but it's not to tell them what to do. Mm-mm. Heaven knows we didn't always follow our own parents.
Nope. I think all three of us adults have made choices in our lives that our parents would not have made for us.
Right.
And so all we can do is allow our children that same right.
Right. There's kind of a reciprocal nature to it. Like, I would like to claim certain rights and privileges, which means I have to make sure that I extend that to the people around me, to my friends, to my family, to my children.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I want to be able to make my own decisions, Mom, then I have to let my kids do that too. Okay. Now, all that is to say, when they're toddlers, I tell them what to do and I expect it to be done. But as they transition from toddlerhood into adulthood, it's a real change. And that, for me, as a mother, is so hard to take that from you tell them what to do, you keep them safe at all costs, to, okay, I don't think that's wise. I'm going to tell you that's not wise, but I have to step back and let you experience choice, consequence. Mm-hmm. Oh, and you know what's coming, and you can't tell them. Well, you do. You tell them. That's stupid.
You try to warn them. Yeah, like I wouldn't do that.
Like, don't worry, Mom. I have to learn this for myself.
Yeah. It's like, I've already learned it, I promise. If you'll just listen, I can save you so much pain and time. But nope, they got to do it themselves.
Yeah.
I think, as we homeschool, one of the goals is to, teach them correct principles, and then we let them govern themselves. Mm-hmm. That's really all you can do as a parent.
I mean, that's not all you can do, but it's probably the choice I feel is most correct for us.
Okay, yes. Okay. I see your point. I guess there's much more we could do, but would it be appropriate?
Right. Yeah. So yeah, overall, I think we want to support our children. I'm going to teach them what I believe because I do believe it. I want to offer that to them. And then ultimately, as they grow old enough, we respect them as individuals, as independent thinkers, and respect their ability to make choices, to govern their own life.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I knew somebody growing up who became a polygamist because of the expectations of his parents. And when his parents died, he just crumbled.
Interesting.
And he wasn't living it for himself. And it put a real strain on his family as he just kind of stepped out of the picture. And so whatever our children choose, it has to be their choice. If it's going to last,
Right.
it has to be their choice. They have to be doing it because of a personal conviction and not because they just want to make mom and dad happy.
Right. Well, and I think that that is the case, not just with polygamy, but any life choices.
Yeah.
You know, I've met so many people throughout my life who have done that, made decisions to appease their parents, to appease social expectation, but that wasn't really genuinely what was in their heart.
Mm-hmm.
And it does manifest at some point in their life that that's not what they want to be. And so they often find themselves course correcting way later on.
Yeah.
And it's
And sometimes in
complicated.
scenarios that can cause a lot of damage to other people as they
Yeah,
start to course correct. And it's like, whoa, that's unfortunate, you know.
Right. So yeah, I think that's why personal conviction is so important. And that's why we nurture that in the kids.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that question. I really do appreciate the genuine, sincere questions that come in, because sometimes we kind of live our life and take it for granted. And we understand our motivations.
Yeah.
So it's really fun to get questions that cause us to articulate our thoughts and our approach to things. So we welcome all questions, preferably polite ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for giving us a chance to share our thoughts. And if you have any additional questions, share them with us. We'd love to shed some light on what we do and why. And
Yeah. I was talking to one of my sisters the other day, and I mentioned that Vanessa and I were posting these tea and chat videos, and she said that she was going to make herself her own cup of tea and sit down
Aw.
and watch it and have a cup of tea with us. And
I love that.
I thought that was so sweet. So we encourage you all to do the same. Pour yourself a cup of tea, get comfortable, relax. And if you have a favorite tea, let us know about it in the comments, and we'll try to find it and give it a try.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's nice to have you all join us, and we hope to see you, or rather, you to see us next week.
all right. Bye.
Next time.